On a quiet evening in Salt Lake City, Officer Bob Hayward of the Highway Patrol was finishing his shift when he noticed a tan Volkswagen Beetle driving through his neighborhood with its lights off. Hayward, familiar with his surroundings, immediately suspected something was off, as the car didn't belong there. He decided to investigate and followed the vehicle, which parked in front of his neighbor's house. At the time, the neighbor wasn't home, but their two daughters, aged 17 and 19, were inside alone. Suspicious, Hayward turned on his car's high beams to get a closer look at the Beetle's license plate. Startled, the driver sped away and Hayward gave chase. The driver ran a few stop signs, trying to evade capture, but eventually pulled over at an abandoned gas station. A man emerged from the vehicle with his hands raised, wearing blue jeans, a black turtleneck, and tennis shoes. He reeked of marijuana. The man claimed to be a law student who had been watching the towering inferno at a local drive-in theater and got turned around on his way home. However, Hayward knew the film was not showing that night. When Hayward checked the car, he found strange items, including a crowbar, ski mask, pantyhose, gloves, a rope, and handcuffs, all potential burglary tools. Despite this, without evidence of a crime, the man was released after booking. Hayward's instincts told him that the man had sinister intentions, possibly targeting his neighbor's house with the two young girls inside. It was only later that Hayward would discover the true identity of the man, Ted Bundy, one of the most notorious serial killers in American history. Ted Bundy was born on November 24, 1946, in Burlington, Vermont. He grew up in a seemingly normal family, raised by Christian, hardworking parents. However, early signs of disturbing behavior emerged when Bundy was a child. He was known to engage in odd and violent acts, such as arranging knives around his sleeping and/or dismembering animals. Despite this, his parents were unaware of the darkness brewing within him. Bundy was intelligent and well-spoken, but also socially awkward and often bullied. He was a loner, prone to bursts of rage, and did not fit in well with his peers. Despite these challenges, Bundy eventually graduated with a degree in psychology, started dating women, and attended law school. However, beneath his seemingly perfect exterior, a dangerous side began to surface. In 1974, Bundy committed his first known murder when he abducted and killed 21-year-old Linda Healy, a student from the University of Washington. From that point, his attacks escalated, with Bundy targeting young, attractive women across several states. His method was to approach his victims while pretending to be injured or disabled, luring them to his car, and then abducting, assaulting, and killing them. He used his Volkswagen Beetle to transport his victims, often removing the passenger seat to create space for the bodies. Bundy's killings were methodical, and he evaded capture for years. His charming demeanor and ability to manipulate those around him made him a difficult suspect to pin down. Bundy even worked briefly for the Seattle Crime Commission, writing a pamphlet on crime prevention for women, while secretly carrying out his brutal crimes. In 1975, Bundy made a critical mistake when he abducted 18-year-old Carol Derringe in Utah. Carol was approached by a man posing as a police officer and was convinced to get into his Volkswagen Beetle. However, when she realized something was wrong, she fought back and managed to escape. She later identified Bundy in a police lineup, which led to his arrest. In 1976, Bundy was convicted for the attempted kidnapping of Carol Derringe, but authorities were still piecing together evidence to connect him to the other murders. Meanwhile, the public remained fearful as more women went missing and Bundy's killings spread across multiple states. Bundy's trial for the kidnapping of Carol Derringe and other murders began in the mid-1970s. While in custody, Bundy managed to escape twice. The first escape occurred in 1977 during his trial in Colorado, where he jumped from a second-story window and fled into the mountains. After a 6-day manhunt, he was captured just 2 blocks away from where he had escaped. Bundy's second escape took place in 1978, when he managed to crawl through a hole in his cell ceiling and disappear. He stole clothes from a prison guard's apartment and walked out of the front door. He spent weeks on the run, committing more crimes and evading capture. However, his freedom was short-lived. In 1978, he was apprehended again, this time in Florida, after a police officer noticed him driving a stolen vehicle. Bundy attempted to fight back, but the officer was able to subdue him. Ted Bundy's final trial began in 1979 for the murders of 2 sorority sisters at Florida State University, as well as the murder of a 12-year-old girl, Kimberly Leach. During his trial, Bundy continued to display his charm, even proposing to his girlfriend in court. He pled not guilty to the charges, but the evidence against him was overwhelming. Bundy was convicted and sentenced to death. In 1989, after spending over a decade on death row, Bundy was executed by electric chair at Florida's state prison. Just before his death, Bundy confessed to murdering 36 women, though it is believed that the true number of his victims may be much higher. The case of Ted Bundy remains one of the most chilling in American criminal history. What makes Bundy's case particularly fascinating is the contrast between his charming, intelligent public persona and the brutality of his crimes. His trial was the first to be televised nationally, drawing widespread media attention and creating a public spectacle. His ability to manipulate those around him, combined with his violent nature, captivated audiences and left a lasting impact on the way the public views serial killers. Despite his terrifying legacy, Bundy's story also highlights the importance of law enforcement collaboration and advancements in forensic science, which eventually led to his capture. Today, Bundy is remembered not just as a serial killer, but as a reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath a seemingly normal exterior.